Rio Rancho police have now finished up the investigation on one of its largest searches ever after a 10-year-old girl went missing for nearly 3 days. They say there is absolutely no reason to believe there was any wrongdoing in the disappearance of Alexandra Greenwald here. They say they found evidence to support Alexandra's and her parents' story. The girl says she ran away last week and hid in the bushes and in the desert near her neighborhood for days and then decided to go home. That whole time, she was avoiding search crews who were walking on horses, even using dogs and helicopters to try to find her.
This is just one of those instances where she was able to elude and evade us, and we, as best a job as we did, she came back on her own, thankfully.
Rio Rancho police and the FBI will not say how much they spent on the search. The parents say they are going to counseling with Alexandra and she'll probably head back to school tomorrow. All right, 5:01. Overhauling APD will be all the talk at City Hall today. Albuquerque City Councilors are set to hold a special meeting tonight to go over the agreement between the city and the Department of Justice on how to fix the police department.
Yeah, the council will vote on if it agrees with the changes. But as News 13's Catherine Razone found out, there's another big reason the meeting is being held. She joins us live at Civic Plaza. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal, Matt. Now, we've learned that this vote by council isn't going to carry a whole lot of weight. The city has already agreed to sign on to these changes, so it's more symbolic. But what the meeting will do is allow the public a chance to hear about the recommendations firsthand and to weigh in whether they think they will work.
The public, I feel, is going to have the opportunity to get involved and listen to the details of this settlement agreement. There's a lot of valuable information because we must restore confidence in our Albuquerque Police Department.
That's Council President Ken Sanchez. He says the meeting will touch on key changes the feds say APD needs to make. The agreement, released last week, outlines APD's use of force policy, requiring better training and hiring for officers. Officers must also give suspects time to submit to arrest before using force, and all must use on-body cameras. There will be more supervision for APD's special units, including SWAT, and APD's Repeat Offender Program, or ROPE team, will be disbanded. The DOJ said it had a culture of aggression. News 13 learned the team was involved in a number of police shootings, including the James Boyd shooting. Tonight, there will be a Q&A with the public before the council votes on if it agrees with the changes. But again, like I said, that's more of a symbolic vote. The city has already agreed to sign on to these changes, but the mayor's office wants to make sure that everyone's on the same page. So that will be signed on or by November 10th. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Catherine. The meeting starts tonight at 5. Sanchez, the only counselor to get back to us, says he supports the agreement. He says there's another big reason taxpayers should go to tonight's meeting. That part of the story in our next half hour.
Well, another thing the city and the federal government have to do is choose a monitor. It's a person who's going to make sure things are done on schedule and done right. For instance, the monitor will double-check internal affairs investigations to make sure officers are held accountable. That person has to be appointed within 2 months. The city has 4 years to get all of the reforms in place.
There is no doubt tonight's meeting will not only draw in dozens of community members, but also the families of those killed by APD who spoke with KRQE just last week.
Very happy that it is a court-enforced decree, and there will be federal oversight to ensure that all of the reforms that are on paper will in fact be enforced.
Officers, although the Albuquerque Police Officers Association was credited for having some input into the agreement, the head of the union, Stephanie Lopez, told News 13 that they had not had a chance to read the agreement before last week's press conference. Right now, Lopez says their biggest concern is whether the city will provide enough people and resources to make all of the changes. As for the increased oversight called for in the deal, the union says it'll have to carefully review the specifics the agreement calls for.
And you can always count on KRQE News 13 to stay on top of the APD DOJ agreement for the long haul, on air, and get expanded coverage anytime at krqe.com. All right, no doubt election night was a very good night for Republicans, perhaps most of all Governor Susana Martinez. She was easily reelected, topping her Democratic challenger Gary King by more than a dozen points. That set a record for the largest victory for a Republican governor in this state's history. Yesterday, Governor Martinez sat down with News 13's Alex Goldsmith, and although she says she is happy with her win and a new Republican majority in the state House, the governor knows she'll have to find some common ground with Democrats in the state Senate if she wants to get anything done.
We've done it before. We've crossed the aisle and we've been able to work with the Senate and the House when they were both Democrat majorities. So I'm confident that we'll be able to do that.
Governor Martinez says New Mexico needs to get more competitive if the state wants to attract high-paying jobs. The governor also says she is not interested in running for either the vice president job in 2016 or the U.S. Senate in 2018.
It turns out the number of voters who came out to the polls on Tuesday was one of the lowest in decades. Unofficial numbers from the Secretary of State show more than 512,000 people voted statewide. That's just shy of 40% of registered voters. In the 2010 election for governor, 607,000 votes were cast. It's about 53% of registered voters. We had some close races across the state. The closest has Socorro County, still wondering who will be their next sheriff. The Defensor Shifton reports that the sheriff's race there is split by 1 vote, which means there will have to be a recount according to state law. Right now, the unofficial margin shows Republican Edmund Sweeney leading Democratic challenger William Armijo. The recount will take place on Friday.
A pot poll question in Bernalillo County got a lot of support, but it probably won't make a big difference.
Got more votes than even Susana Martinez in Bernalillo County.
It was the very bottom of the ballot, and that many people still voted on this initiative.
A Tuesday night's election question to gauge public interest showed voters do want to decriminalize the possession of small amounts of pot, but the problem is Mayor R.J. Berry will probably veto a city council move to pass a plan to do that. And with Republicans now controlling the state house, getting that plan out of the legislature is a long shot. Crystal.
Time now 5:07. New work requirements for New Mexicans receiving food stamps will not go into effect. According to the proposal, it would have required parents with kids 6 and older to look for a job, do community service, or get job training to qualify for SNAP benefits. But now that decision has been put on hold because the state did not follow the proper procedures to change the rules.